know about the war in Ukraine, the largest armed conflict in Europe since World War II, where the front line spans over 3,500 kilometers? Yet, have you heard about the other front line? It's invisible, but if one side loses, the whole world will feel it.
There are no other place in the world, no other country in the world that has suffered the same, and I really hope that it will remain like that.
This war started in 2014, with Russia's invasion of Crimea and the east of Ukraine. And with each passing year, it has grown increasingly larger in scale.
They tried to attack different resources, state and private resources. So starting from what they call decision-making centers, our armed forces, our ministries, our power grid, and finishing with pharmacy shops and toy stores even, in order to create this panic.
Russians conducted their first successful hacker attack in Ukraine as early as 2015. They targeted Prikarpatia Oblenergo energy company, leaving 250,000 Ukrainians without electricity. As they prepared for a full-scale invasion in real life, Russians also bolstered their capabilities in cyberspace. The first attempt took place between January 13th and 14th, 2022. Approximately 70 Ukrainian government institutions were targeted, but Ukrainians managed to fend off the attack. The next attempt was even more challenging.
Actually, they launched a number of cyber attacks a couple of hours before the invasion, to be more exact, around 6-7 p.m. in the evening of February 23. We clearly understood that they planned it as accompanying an actual invasion. And why? They attacked our military systems, our communication systems. It was a very prominent attack. Because of this attack, even some wind turbines in Germany has stopped because they were also using this type of equipment. So what was the reason? Is that our military, they used Viasat for their communication. So they wanted to leave our militaries without communication.
However, the enemy has failed again. Ukrainian cyber specialists attribute their success to 3 factors.
Our experience that we had since 2014, help of our international partners, and unwavering will to win. We act as a shield in cyberspace of the whole democratic world because we are the one who first see this weapon Russia is actually using. It is all tested here, and Ukraine has become a testing ground of this cyber weapon. We have this information, and then afterwards we share it with our partners, and they can be much better prepared because they already know what is actually being used.
The war in Ukraine has taken cyber attacks to an entirely new level.
Russian hackers, they have the motivation to destroy our country. This cyber war is so brand new because we are not facing financially motivated groups or ransomware groups. We are facing the state, and we are facing special services, which are GRU, military intelligence, SVR, intelligence, or FSB, their counterintelligence. Hacking groups that work within special services, they are financed, they have laboratories, they have research institutes that help them to produce and to develop specific malware, different wipers, etc., that will later be used in Ukraine.
The research by Google's threat analysis group has also shown that Ukraine is targeted by several Russian hacker groups with ties to intelligence agencies. In addition to Ukraine, their targets include NATO countries, the Republic of Georgia, South Korea, and the Turkish drone manufacturer Bayraktar. In essence, hackers in Russia have transformed into soldiers, whose mission is to destroy.
There are virtually no systems in Ukraine, no ministries that they haven't tried to attack. Now they are creating national cyber offensive system. What does it mean? So it's not just starts from special services. We have the information that in some military educational establishments, they have specific cyber offensive subject. So they want to scale it up, the massiveness of the attacks and the people that are able to conduct attacks, and in the long run, it can have a very dangerous aftermath, not only for Ukraine, but also for our partners, because right now we understand that all their resources are focused on Ukraine, and most of the attacks that they conduct against our partners, these are low-profile DDoS attacks. And why is that? Because they just don't have enough power and don't have enough people to do this type of job. And after some period of time, having more people prepared that clearly know how to attack state resources, how to attack power grid, how to attack gas and water supply companies, they will all be later working for special services, and they can produce more harm, not only for Ukraine, but for the whole world.
Ukraine has already experienced the scale of such cyber attacks and their potential consequences firsthand.
They tried to penetrate one of our telecom operators, and you know that there are only 3 of them. And luckily, we stopped this attack on the initial stage. But if they had a little more time, they could indeed, first of all, get to personal data, get to our SMS and phone calls, and they could literally destroy the infrastructure of the telecom operator. And once one of our telecom operator would be destroyed, the other 2 would be overloaded. So they wouldn't be able to cope with all the calls and SMS, so they will be also out, and we would be without communication for some period of time. And that can also be very, very dangerous, and you understand how it can affect different areas of life.
Russians combine cyber threats with physical attacks. For instance, on March 1st, 2022, when it became clear that the Blitzkrieg had failed, they launched missile strikes on the country's main television tower in Kyiv to disrupt broadcasting. Another extremely powerful attack targeted the Ukrainian tactical control system Kropiva, which is actively used on the front lines.
They developed 7 malware specifically to attack this military situational awareness system and what it could lead to. So they could get the access to all the devices connected to Kropiva, so tablets, phones. They could see everything that is in these devices, what's written in your Telegram, what pictures you have. This malware was to get the configuration of Starlink that device is connected to. So in the end, it could lead that they could analyze and see where our headquarters are, because they have a lot of Starlinks there and a lot of devices there, and then they could hit it with a missile or artillery, depending where it was situated. So this was first big cyber defensive operation according to all NATO standards.
Instead, Ukrainians managed to gain access to all the documentation for the Russian-developed system REPI. In the end, the Ukrainians can no longer implement the REPI, Ukrainian hackers quipped. And this is far from their only success. How did Ukrainians destroy the Russian equivalent of YouTube? Why do they compare that to Stuxnet, the first known destructive cyber attack in the world? Stuxnet was unprecedented in complexity and consequences for Iran. Even now, there are debates about which of the world's best special services is accountable for it. Check out the new video next week.